Hey folks, Wally DM here, and today we're going to do a character build for the Path of the Giant Barbarian. Now this is a brand new subclass that you can find in Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants for D&D 5th edition. So having a giant themed character, we're going to use the background and a couple of feats from the book, but we're also going to have a reach theme. Our character is going to be able to make melee attacks at anyone that is within 25 feet of us. So we're going to give them slinky arms. I'm really excited about this character, so let's go ahead and jump over to D&D Beyond and get started. Okay, so we're going to begin our level 1 character build by selecting a race. Now, the race that I have selected is going to be the Bugbear, and this was influenced by a Path of the Giant feature that we get at level 3. Now, we don't officially get the subclass till level 3, but we want to start building for it and be ready when we do get there. And that ability is the Giant Stature, which is going to increase our reach by 5 feet. Now that is an ability that is activated by our Barbarian Rage, but we'll talk about more of that when we reach that point. So let's switch our screen over to D&D Beyond and take a look at the Bugbear. Now this is the race that I have chosen for my Path of the Giant Barbarian, and the reason that I've chosen the Bugbear is because of the long-limbed ability. When you make a melee attack on your turn, your reach for it is 5 feet greater than normal. So at the beginning, a character always has a 5-foot reach. Now that we have a Bugbear, we have a 10-foot reach, and then when we get to level 3, that's going to increase by another 5 feet, but at first level it'll be 10 feet. Now the Bugbear has quite a few good abilities. We have Dark Vision out to 60 feet. We have Fey Ancestry that helps us with saving throws on the Charmed condition. We have Powerful Build that allows us to carry and push more. And we have Sneaky, which gives us the Stealth skill. And then finally we have Surprise Attack, and I really like this one. If you hit a creature with an attack roll, the creature takes an extra 2d6 damage if it hasn't taken a turn yet in the current combat. Later on, when we get some of our Polearms and Sentinel feats, this is going to be really cool because this attack roll could happen on their turn, us using it as a reaction. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself, so for now, just knowing that if we can attack a creature before they get a turn to attack in combat, then we're going to get some extra damage in that round. Now for our ability scores for this character, I have selected a point buy system, putting a 15 into Strength and Constitution, a 14 into Dexterity, 10 into Wisdom, and then we're having both Intelligence and Charisma be in our dump stats with 8. I'm putting the +2 into Strength and the +1 into Constitution, giving us a 17 and a 16 respectively. Selecting our class, of course, we're going with a level 1 Barbarian, and proficiencies, those are up to you. I chose Athletics and Intimidation, and one of the main abilities of a Barbarian is a Rage, and we get that at first level. So in battle, we fight with Primal Ferocity. On our turn, we can enter a Rage as a bonus action. So for those of you not familiar with Rage, we can only gain these benefits if we're not wearing heavy armor, and I believe at first level we can have 2 Rages, and then we have to finish a long rest for them to reset. But once we enter a rage, we have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. When we make a melee weapon attack using strength, we can gain a bonus to the damage roll that increases as you gain levels as a barbarian, as shown in the rage damage column of the barbarian table. And for first level, that is +2. And then finally, and most important, you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Now, one of the things about a Barbarian's Rage is you cannot concentrate on spells, and you cannot cast spells when you are in a rage. The rage will last for 1 minute until you're knocked unconscious, or until you haven't attacked a hostile creature or taken damage since your last turn. And then our final Barbarian ability is called Unarmored Defense. If we're not wearing armor, our armor class is going to be 10 plus our Dexterity modifier plus our Constitution modifier, and we could use a shield if we wanted to. For this character build, we will not be using a shield, but we will take advantage of the Unarmored Defense. So taking a look at the front end of D&D Beyond, this is my character Orlecto, a Bugbear Barbarian, level 1, and Orlecto has an armor class of 15. That is a +2 from the Dexterity bonus, bonus and a +3 from Constitution, and he has 15 hit points. Now with regards to weapons, I have chosen the halberd, which is a polearm. Now a halberd is a martial weapon, it is heavy, it has reach, and it is two-handed. So the halberd gives us an extra 5 feet, and that is with the reach ability. So now because we are a bugbear, you can see here that we have a range of 15 feet with our halberd. That is pretty good at first level. And then our halberd attacks are going to do a D10 +3. Now D&D Beyond does not have a switch that you can flip to turn on rage and see the new stats. So what I have done is I've added a second halberd to my character sheet, and I have given it the +2 damage that we get when we enter a rage. So when Orlecto is in a rage with this halberd, I have the second stat, halberd with rage, that has the additional +2 of slashing damage. We also have hand axes and javelins, and those will come into effect more when we choose our subclass at 3rd level. Popping over to features and traits, you can see here this is where we have rage as a bonus action, and we can do 2 of those per long rest. Now I want to spend just a little bit of time discussing the background that I have chosen for my character. I have selected Giant Foundling, and you can find this in Glory of the Giants, but the interesting thing about Giant Foundling is it comes with a feat. So in Glory of the Giants, they put a section in here that says bonus feats. If the DM decides to allow the Giant Foundling and Rune Carver backgrounds, both of those can be found in the new book, then all characters in the campaign gain access to a bonus feat. If you select one of those backgrounds, you gain the bonus feat specified in that background. If the background you chose doesn't provide a feat, you gain a bonus feat of your choice from the following list, and it recommends skilled and tough. Now, we've seen this before in Spelljammer and in Dragonlance, and in the 2024 edition that is coming soon for Dungeons & Dragons, I believe that nearly all backgrounds will have a 1st level feat attached to it. So for the purpose of building this character, we are going to go ahead and get that feat with the Giant Foundling background. So if you're going to be building your own character similar to this using the backgrounds found in Glory of the Giants, just be sure to check with your Dungeon Master to make sure that 1st level feats are allowed with backgrounds. So let's take a look at Orlecto in the description section on the back end of D&D Beyond and take a look at this background and the feat that we're going to obtain from it. First, we get to choose a language. I'm going to choose Goblin because we are a bit of a goblinoid as a bugbear. And then you can see here I've chosen the Giant Foundling background. And a little bit of description on this reads as follows. Though you aren't a giant, you grew up among giants. Maybe you were an orphan taken in by a sympathetic family of stone giants who raised you as one of their own, or perhaps you lived in a lost prehistoric pocket of the world, surrounded by giants and fearsome behemoths or hulking dinosaurs. So a lot of flavor wins here in Glory of the Giants. Now as far as skill proficiencies with this background, you would get survival and intimidation, but since we've already chosen intimidation as part of the barbarian package, I'm going to choose acrobatics. I want to be acrobatic and I want to be athletic. I want to have both of them. With this background, we get 2 languages. One of them has to be giant, and the other one is one of our choosing, and I'm going to go with primordial because later on we will be getting some elemental type abilities. So I think it makes sense there. And then this background has a feature called Strike of the Giants, which simply says you gain the Strike of the Giants feat. And again, going forward from 2024 and beyond, I believe most of the backgrounds in D&D are going to have a 1st level feat attached to it. So let's take a look at the Strike of the Giants feat. Now when you obtain this, you have to choose between one of 6 different giant types, which are Cloud, Fire, Frost, Hill, Stone, or Storm, and you can use the abilities in this feat a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and then they'll reset after a long rest. So let's just look at each one of them individually. The first one that you could select is Cloud Strike, where the target takes an extra d4 of thunder damage, and if that target is a creature, it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, or you become invisible to it until the start of your next turn, or until immediately after you make an attack roll or cast a spell. There is Fire Strike, where the target is going to take an extra d10 of fire damage. Frost Strike, the target takes an extra d6 of cold damage. If that target is a creature, it must succeed on a Constitution saving throw, or its speed is going to be reduced to 0 until the start of your next turn. Hill Strike, the target takes an extra d6 of the weapon's type, and if that target is a creature, it must succeed on a strength saving throw or have the prone condition. Stone Strike, the target takes an extra d6 of force damage, and if that target is a creature, it must make a strength saving throw or be pushed 10 feet back from you in a straight line. And then finally, Storm Strike, the target takes an extra d6 of lightning damage, and if that target is a creature, it must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or it has disadvantage on attack rolls until the start of your next turn. Now this feat actually serves as a prerequisite of one that we can get at 4th level or beyond, and it is determined on the selection that we make here. So after I have already read ahead, I'm going to select Storm Strike. I like this one because we get the extra damage, and if they make that failed save, they have disadvantage on attack rolls, not just against us, but all attack rolls. So that is our level 1 character build for Orlecto, a Bugbear Barbarian that was raised by giants. We are going to be proficient with a halberd, and we're going to have one heck of a reach when it comes to melee combat. So let's advance our character to level 2 and take a look at what comes next for our Barbarian. So here we are with Orlecto, our Barbarian Bugbear, level 2, and at this level we're going to get 2 more Barbarian class features. The first one is going to be Reckless Attack. Starting at 2nd level, you can throw aside all concern for defense to attack with fierce desperation. When you make your first attack on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly. Doing so gives you advantage on melee weapon attack rolls using strength during this turn, but attack rolls against you have advantage until your next turn. This is a very popular thing if you want to attack recklessly, get that advantage, and hopefully get a hit. The other ability we get at this level is Danger Sense. You have advantage on dexterity saving throws against effects that you can see, such as traps and spells. To gain this benefit, you can't be blinded, deafened, or incapacitated. I believe this would also work for breath weapons. So if we're going up against a breath weapon attack, making a saving throw against something like a fireball, or we're trying to recover from falling into a pit trap, then we're going to have advantage on those dexterity saving throws. We can sense the danger. So that'll do it for us at level 2. Let's advance to level 3 and choose the subclass of the Path of the Giant. So here we are back on D&D Beyond with Orlecto, our Bugbear Barbarian, and now a Path of the Giant Barbarian. Now, an introduction to the subclass: barbarians who walk the path of the giant draw strength from the same primal forces as giants. As they rage, these barbarians surge with elemental power and grow in size, taking on forms that evoke the glory of the giants. Some barbarians look like oversized versions of themselves, perhaps with a hint of elemental energy flaring in their eyes and around their weapons. Others transform more dramatically, taking on the appearance of an actual giant or form similar to an elemental, wreathed in fire, frost, or lightning. And as previously discussed, I'm going more of a storm giant route, so I am going to be using a lot of lightning. Now, as a Path of the Giant, we get 2 abilities at this level. The first one is Giant's Power. When you choose this path, you learn to speak, read, and write Giant or one other language of your choice if you already know Giant. We already know Giant, so we'll get another language. Additionally, you learn a cantrip of your choice, either Druidcraft or Thaumaturgy. I'm going to go with Thaumaturgy so I can change the color of my eyes to look like lightning bolts or something cool like that. But it doesn't really matter. Choose what you will here. The next ability is Giant's Havoc. Your rage pulls strength from the primal might of giants, transforming you into a hulking force of destruction. While raging, you gain the following benefits. We have a crushing throw. When you make a successful ranged attack with a thrown weapon using strength, you can add your rage damage bonus to the attack's damage rolls. So now we can add our rage bonus to thrown weapons like hand axes or javelins. I do have to warn you that this is going to not play as big of a role in this character build, because our reach is going to go so far in melee combat, and a lot of the effective range for thrown weapons are 20 feet for hand axes, 30 feet for javelins. We're just simply not going to utilize this as much, but it's nice that it's there. We also have Giant Stature. Your reach increases by 5 feet, and if you are smaller than large and a bugbear is medium size, then you become large, along with anything you are wearing. If there isn't enough room for you to increase your size, then your size doesn't change. So as we go into a rage, and at 3rd level, we now have 3 rages that we can use, we become large and our reach is going to increase by 5 feet. So the Giant's Havoc ability basically makes us a large bugbear. Now the only benefits that we're really getting from that, mechanical wise, are we get an extra 5 feet for our rage, and we get to add our rage damage to like a javelin throw or something like that. But if you think about this on the tactical or the battlefield, we're going from a medium size to a large size, so we're going to be taking up a lot more space. Maybe we're blocking a door so enemies can't get through, or maybe we're just trying to intimidate them. Regardless, I think it's time to take a look at our weapons on D&D Beyond. Now, D&D Beyond does have some issues, as previously mentioned, as far as getting our rage abilities to incorporate with our weapon abilities. So what I have done here is I went over to Manage Custom under my actions, and I have created my own weapon attacks. So we now have a halberd and a javelin. Those are without raging. And then I created 2 custom, which are halberd with rage and javelin with rage. So if you are using D&D Beyond and want to do that, just click on Manage Custom, and that will take you into this screen, and you can adjust things as you see fit. The biggest thing is going to be range and adding that extra damage. So again, at 3rd level, we now have 3 rages, and we get a +2 modifier to our damage on those rages. So our halberd, we now have a 20-foot reach. That is 5 feet, which is normal, 5 additional feet from the bugbear, 5 additional feet from the halberd, and now 5 additional feet from the giant rage. And then we also have the javelin attack, and as you can see here, we have an efficiency range of about 30 feet, so it only is about 10 feet longer than the halberd. We can add our +5 modifier for our strength, and then we get a d6 +5 because, again, we're going into that rage, and we get to add our rage bonus. Now scrolling down further on our actions under the Barbarian, there's our rage, so we can check those off. We get 3 per long rest. And then we have other. As previously mentioned, we have the surprise attack. That is a bugbear feature, so if you want to click on that, it is there. And then here is our feat, the strike of the storm giants. And again, that is a d6, and we can use those 2 times per day. Now that's going to do it for our Electo at level 3. So now we're going to move on to level 4, and we're going to get a feat. So let's take a look and see what this level up is going to look like. And the feat that I'm going to choose at this level is not going to increase our strength, unfortunately. We're going to have to wait for that, but I feel it's going to provide a lot more utility for us, and that's going to be Polearm Master. So for those of you that are not familiar, our halberd is considered a polearm, and it's going to give us the following benefits. When we take the attack action and attack only with our halberd, we're going to gain a bonus action to make a melee attack with the opposite end of the weapon. This attack uses the same ability modifier as the primary attack. Now the weapon's damage die for this attack is a d4, and it deals bludgeoning damage. Also, while wielding this halberd, other creatures provoke an opportunity attack from us when they enter the reach you have with that weapon. So let's jump back on the front end of D&D Beyond and take a look at what Orlecto's attacks are going to look like now that they've been modified with Polearm Master. So as you can see here, we still have our normal attacks, and again, I made some custom ones with the halberd and javelin with rage, but now we also have a bonus action, and it says here Polearm Master bonus action, and you can see it only has 10 feet. Now that is incorrect. Now we can do another custom weapon thing if we would like to, but do keep in mind we still have 20 feet of reach with 5 feet of normal, 5 feet halberd, 5 feet bugbear, and then if we are in a rage, that's an extra 5 feet. So this would actually be 15 feet, and then rage, it would be 20. And of course, we have a d4 plus 3 of damage, but that would actually be a d4 plus 5 damage if we are in a rage. Now, Polearm Master also gives us a reaction, and if you recall, the reaction is when we're wielding our halberd and other creatures provoke an opportunity attack from us when they enter our reach. Now, entering our reach, this again says 10 feet, but that is once again incorrect. This is actually going to be 10 feet normal and 15 feet if we're in a rage, because the other 5 feet that we're going to be missing is from the bugbear. If we come back and take a look at a bugbear, the long-limbed ability says when you make a melee attack on your turn, your reach is 5 feet greater than normal. And with this, since most opportunity attacks for our reaction are triggered when it's not our turn, we cannot add that 5-foot range for the bugbear. So we have 10 feet normal and then 15 feet if we're in a rage. So I hope that helps understand with Polearm Master and the reach properties. So let's advance our character up to level 5, get our extra attacks, and see what's next in store for Electo. So level 5 is going to be a simple one for Electo. The first thing that's going to happen is our proficiency bonus is going to go from a +2 to a +3, and D&D Beyond has taken care of recalculating all of our saving throws, our skills, and our attacks. Now the class features that we get, there are 2 of them. We get the extra attack, and with the extra attack beginning at 5th level, we can attack twice instead of once whenever we take the attack action on our turn. The second ability that we get is another simple one. Starting at 5th level, our speed increases by 10 feet while we're not wearing heavy armor. And we are not wearing heavy armor, so you can see now that our Electo's walking speed is 40 feet. And that's basically going to do it for level 5. Proficiency bonus, better movement speed, and extra attack. So let's take a look at Electo at level 6 because we're going to get some more Path of the Giant abilities. So our level 6 Bugbear Path of the Giant is going to get an ability called Elemental Cleaver, and this is going to start tacking on some damage for our barbarian at this level. The Elemental Cleaver ability reads as follows: your bond with the elemental might of giants grows, and you learn to infuse weapons with primordial energy. When you enter your rage, you can choose one weapon that you are holding and infuse it with one of the following damage types, either acid, cold, fire, thunder, or lightning. And just as a reminder, I'm going for more of a lightning theme with the Storm Giant, so lightning is going to be my default, but I will also be aware of those other options. While you wield the infused weapon during your rage, the weapon's damage type changes to the chosen type. It deals an extra d6 of damage of the chosen type when it hits, and it gains the thrown property with a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60 feet. If you throw the weapon, it reappears in your hand the instant after it hits or misses a target. Now, while raging and holding the infused weapon, you can use a bonus action to change the infused weapon's current damage type. So again, if they're immune to lightning and I need to do one of the others, I can do that as a bonus action. Now let's take a look at our character sheet and see the changes that are going to take effect and how this works. So what I have done under my attack actions on D&D Beyond is I changed my custom halberd with rage, and as you can see there, I put a little lightning bolt there because I will probably be picking lightning as my default element type. So when we attack while raging with our halberd, and our halberd is one that has the elemental cleaver infused, then we're going to hit and do a d10 plus 5 of damage. But as you scroll down, we have other, there's our elemental cleaver. We'll also do a d6. And then if we hit again with our halberd, we'll do another d10 plus 5, and we get to add that d6 again. And then don't forget, we also have the bonus action for the polearm. So if we hit with the bonus action polearm, we'll do a d4 plus 5 because we're raging, and then we'll also get an additional d6. So on our turns at level 6, we get an opportunity to do an additional 3d6 of lightning damage or fire or whatever it is that you choose. And also don't forget that we have that wicked range for our reach ability. So if any creature or monster enters within 15 feet of us, then we can use our reaction to attack, and then we also get to add that d6 of that elemental energy to that reaction attack. So this is absolutely fantastic, and now you can see why I wanted Polearm Master at level 4 rather than increasing our strength and going for that. There's just so many more opportunities. Now we also have that second part of the elemental cleaver ability that allows us to throw our halberd. So in our 2 attacks, we can throw it twice because it teleports immediately back to us after it hits. But that's a 20-foot range, and we already have a 20-foot reach with our halberd while we're raging. So we could use that at the long range to attack with disadvantage, but for the most part, we're probably not going to be throwing our halberd. However, it does set us up to be able to infuse our javelin if we do get into some type of a situation where we need that long range attack. Now, one final thing to note before we move on and level up this character is at level 6, we also get 4 rages per long rest, so that's going to be great for multiple combats. Not only that, but we've got all of this extra damage from the elemental cleaver. This barbarian's going to kick a lot of ass on the battlefield. So that's all I have for level 6. Let's move up to level 7 and beyond. So level 7 should be a fairly easy level for us. We get 2 abilities. The first one that we get is Feral Instinct. By 7th level, your instincts are so honed that you have advantage on initiative rolls. Additionally, if you are surprised at the beginning of combat and aren't incapacitated, you can act normally on your first turn, but only if you enter your rage before doing anything else on the turn. Now, the surprise thing is nice, but I do want to draw attention to the advantage on initiative rolls, because if you recall, we did choose the Bugbear, and the Bugbear has the surprise attack. If you hit a creature with an attack roll, the creature takes an extra 2d6 damage if it hasn't taken a turn in the current combat. So now with our ability of the Barbarian, the Feral Instinct, we have a better chance of being able to go higher or first in the initiative, and we might get that surprise attack damage bonus. That's really cool. Now the other ability we get is one called Instinctive Pounce. Now this is an optional class feature that you can find in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, so make sure to check with your dungeon master to ensure that you are using the optional rules from Tasha's Cauldron before putting this on your character sheet. But this is a simple one that says, as part of a bonus action you take to enter your rage, you can move up to half your speed. So with Feral Instinct, we already have a 40-foot walking speed, so when it's our turn in combat, we can do our bonus action to go into a rage, and then we get 20 feet, and then we can then use our movement to get an extra 40. So we can move up to 60 feet and then take our attack action. That's pretty cool. So that's going to do it for our level 7 characters. Time to go to level 8. You know what that means. It's time for an ability score improvement. And of course, we're going to do a really cool feat. I'm super excited about it. So at level 8, we're going to choose one of the new feats that you can find in Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants. And that feat is going to be Soul of the Storm Giant. Now, like I said in my introduction, one of the prerequisites for this is going to be Strike of the Giants. Now that is the feat that we were able to receive as part of our background during character creation. So again, you're going to want to check with your dungeon master to make sure that it's okay to get that feat at first level. But in order to get the Soul of the Storm Giant feat, we had to choose the Storm Giant Strike feat at first level. So all of the feats in Glory of the Giants are this way. If you want to choose one of these, like Fury of the Frost Giant, or Vigor of the Hill Giant, or Soul of the Storm Giant, then as a prerequisite for that, you have to get the Strike of the Giants feat, and you have to choose that. And again, I chose Storm in the character creation, so now I can choose Soul of the Storm Giant. And I had looked ahead and pre-planned this. So here we are, prerequisite, 4th level, and Strike of the Giants Storm Strike feat. And this reads as follows. You've manifested the Tempest magic emblematic of Storm Giants, granting you the following benefits. We get an ability score increase, and of course I'm going to increase my strength by 1. We also get Maelstrom Aura. As a bonus action, you surround yourself with an aura of magical wind and lightning that extends 10 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover. The aura lasts until the start of your next turn or until you are incapacitated. While the aura is active, you have resistance to lightning and thunder damage. In addition, attack rolls against you have disadvantage, and whenever another creature starts its turn within the aura, you can force the creature to make a strength saving throw, and on a failed save, the creature's speed is halved until the start of its next turn. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and regaining all of those when we finish a long rest. So at 8th level, we get 3 uses of this, and what I like the best is to remember that we have a 20-foot reach with our halberd. So if we have our Maelstrom Aura active and they fail that strength saving throw, their speed is going to be halved. It's going to be very tough for anybody to get out of our range once they're in it. Having that 20-foot reach, if an opposing monster has 30-foot movement, movement. It's cut in half to 15. They're not going to be able to get out of our reach. Not only that, but the resistances to lightning and thunder damage are always good. I definitely like gaining resistances when the opportunity presents itself. And then finally, of course, attack rolls against us have disadvantage. That is fantastic. So for those that do want to come in and get in our face, they're going to have a hard time being able to cope with this. And before we move on, I'll bounce back over to the front end of D&D Beyond, and you can see here that we now have a strength of 18, which gives us that +4 modifier, and all of our weapons we're now going to have a +7 to hit and an extra point of damage. So that is Orlecto, my Bugbear Barbarian, Storm Giant Elements Supreme, I guess. That's level 8. Let's advance up to level 9 and get our next ability. So level 9 for our Barbarian is going to be another simple one. Not a lot going on with this. Now we do get a +3 to our damage. That is our Rage bonus. So I have taken the opportunity to adjust my custom halberd and my custom javelin with Rage to show that +3 modifier. The other ability that we get at level 9 is Brutal Critical. Beginning at 9th level, you can roll 1 additional weapon damage die when determining the extra damage for a critical hit with a melee attack. So quite simple, we just get some extra damage when we hit with a critical hit. So not a lot going on at level 9, but I'm excited about level 10 because we're going to get some more Path of the Giant abilities, so let's not waste any more time. So here we are at level 10, and one of the funnest abilities of our Path of the Giant Barbarian is the Mighty Impel. This is a 10th level feature that reads as follows. Your connection to giant strength allows you to hurl both allies and enemies on the battlefield. As a bonus action, while raging, you can choose one medium or smaller creature within your reach and move it to an unoccupied space you can see within 30 feet of yourself. An unwilling creature must succeed on a strength saving throw to avoid the effect. If, at the end of this movement, the thrown creature isn't on a surface or liquid that can support it, then the creature falls, taking damage as normal and landing prone. So this is going to do two things for us, and just as a reminder, we do have to be raging because that's what's going to give us our large size. Now if we want to throw an ally maybe up on a ledge or get them out of trouble without provoking an opportunity attack, throwing them to safety, we can do that, because if a character is in melee combat and they are moved by a force that's not their own, for instance us throwing them out of the way, then they won't be struck with that opportunity attack. So that's a good thing there. But the fun part of this is using it against an enemy. We can throw them up to 30 feet, and it doesn't have to be horizontal. We can throw them straight up in the air. So if we throw them straight up in the air, that's going to be 30 feet up. And as it says in that last part, if they're not on a surface or liquid or something that can support that creature, they're going to fall and land prone. And when they fall from 30 feet in the air, they're going to take 3d6 of falling damage. Now, two things to point out, this is a bonus action and there's no limitations on it. We can do this every turn. Pick them up, throw them in the air, and let them fall. This is also going to require a strength saving throw of a DC 16. That could be very difficult for some creatures or monsters to be able to make every turn. So this is a lot of fun. If you dream of your giant being able to pick people up and throw them to wherever you want to throw them to, then Mighty Impel is where it's at. So our giant can now throw creatures in combat. That's awesome. So that's it. That's our level 10 ability for the Path of the Giant. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this one and how you would use Mighty Impel on the battlefield. I'm excited to find out. Now those are the abilities of the Path of the Giant Barbarian, but before we move on to level 12 to get our next feat, let's take one last look at level 10 and level 11. Now, a Barbarian option class feature that you can find in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, if you're using those optional rules, is Primal Knowledge. At 3rd level, we gained a skill, and here at 10th level, we get to pick another skill. So you can pick either Nature, Animal Handling, whatever it is that you'd like. And I might as well go ahead and take the opportunity to level up to level 11. We only get one ability, and it's pretty straightforward, and that's called Relentless Rage. Starting at 11th level, your rage can keep you fighting despite grievous wounds. If you drop to 0 hit points while you're raging and don't die outright, you can make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw, and if you succeed, you drop to 1 hit point instead. Each time you use this feature, after the first, the DC increases by 5. When you finish a short or long rest, it resets to 10. I absolutely love this. It gives you a chance. If you take a huge scoopful of damage that would drop you under 0, you can roll that Constitution saving throw, and there's a 50-50 shot that you're just going to drop to 1 hit point. And the fact that you can keep trying after that first time, this is a really cool ability. I absolutely dig it. But that is going to be it for level 11, so let's pick a feat at level 12. So level 12 is going to be a little bit of a decision for us. We have an 18 strength, and we could use this opportunity to get our strength to 20 by just taking the ability score improvement and taking that +2 into strength, or we can choose a feat. Let me know what you would do in the comment section below. For me, I'm going with the feat though. I really want to give this Sentinel feat a try. So with Sentinel, we get the following benefits. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, the creature's speed becomes 0 for the rest of the turn. Now that is going to work well with our Polearm Master and the fact that we are a Path of the Giant Barbarian, because when we rage we get an extra 5 feet, our halberd gives us an extra 5 feet. Now we don't get the 5 feet from the Bugbear, but that does put us at 15-foot range. So if any creature enters within 15 feet of us, that is going to provoke our opportunity attack, and if we hit them with that, Sentinel is going to say that they're going to freeze in place. Their movement's going to be reduced to 0. The second part of Sentinel is creatures provoke opportunity attacks from you even if they take the disengage action before leaving your reach. Again, our goal is to have a tremendous amount of reach and to keep our opponents or the monsters within that, so we can just keep hitting them. And if they try to take the disengage action, it's just not going to work. And then finally, when a creature within 5 feet of you makes an attack against a target other than you and does not have this feat, you can use your reaction to make a melee weapon attack against the attacking creature. So that is the Sentinel feat, and the part that I like the most about it is reducing to 0. And don't forget, we also have our Soul of the Storm Giant too, so we are going to be able to activate that and keep them within our aura. They're just not going to be able to get away from us. This reach thing with the polearms, the Bugbear, the Path of the Giant, this is really good stuff. So that sums up our Barbarian for level 12. At 13, we don't really get a lot of features. We do get Brutal Critical, which we get to roll 2 additional weapon dice if we have a crit hit. But that's it for level 13. So I want to jump up to level 14. This will be the last level that we cover in this video, but this is a really good one. We are going to look at another class of, or Path of the Giant Barbarian feature. This one's called Demiurgic Colossus, Demiurgic, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. This is a 14th level feature that says the primordial power of your rage intensifies. And at this level 2, we can do 5 rages per day, which is pretty good. When you rage, your reach increases by 10 feet. Your size can increase to large or huge, your choice, and you can use your mighty Impel to move creatures that are large or smaller. So remember that trick that we're doing where we're throwing enemies up in the air? They had to be medium or small. Now, if we become huge, we can throw those that are large up in the air like that. So that is amazing. In addition, the extra damage dealt by your elemental Cleaver feature increases by 2d6. So we are really getting a boost in combat at this level. So looking at our attack, again, I had to do custom items on D&D Beyond, and this ability, the Colossus ability, is actually an improvement of our other or previous abilities. So when we get that extra 10 feet, it's actually an additional 5 feet at this point. It's not an additional 10 tacked on to the 5 feet that we received from our 3rd level ability. So we do have a reach of 25 feet with our halberd while we are raging, and it's our turn. Not only that, but it will increase our ability to hit with a reaction to 20-foot reach, so we can drop someone to 0 movement as soon as they come within 20 feet of us. So that's really cool. And of course, we're always imbuing our weapons with either lightning, or as a storm giant, I might even pick thunder. So we now get 2d6 of that lightning or thunder damage with our elemental cleaver. So again, that can trigger on our reaction, it can trigger on both of our attacks, and it can trigger on our bonus action with that Polearm master feat. So just on our turn alone, we have the opportunity with elemental cleaver to cause an additional 6d6 of elemental damage. Level 14, this Path of the Giant Barbarian is extremely tough. It's going to deal out a lot of damage. So that is Orlecto, my Bugbear Path of the Giant Barbarian. Now, if you'd like to see a few of the character sheets, I did print off levels 3, 6, 8, and 10, and I'll post links to those in the description below. You can find them on my website, wallydm.com. Now, that's all I have for you today, so be sure to leave a comment and let me know, what do you think of this character build? What feats would you take? What options would you take? And did I get anything wrong? Be sure to let me know what you're thinking. Thank you very much for watching, and on to the next.